Ah, fuck, I forgot to put on my BESIKTAS shirt. Whatever. Cut that. So let's get down to business. Happy birthday, my Turkish friend and fellow BESIKTAS supporter. And I just saved you as Nub or NB BESIKTAS. Um as like the name. So we'll be in sharing screens. You'll be able to see this beautiful face. I'm just joking. Well, am I even beautiful? My eyes are red. Still only slept 6 hours. Yeah, I look pretty damn. Yeah, my eyes are white. I'd say my eyes are fucking it up. Yeah, yeah, I'm looking good. Minus my eyes. I'm just joking. I have no fucking idea. I don't know why I said that. But I like to share screen because I like to meditate and take out my crystal, my secret crystal. This mixed with this and this brings me information from, God, it's so fucking dark. Up there. Or is it already within us? Anyways, let's just fucking start. I'll go back on share screen, don't share screen, blah 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 blah. Here's your chart. Here's your chart, darling. Um, okay. So you have a Saturn return that's been happening. So I highly suggest getting the secondary reading, which is I think you got the follow up, didn't you? Most people add the current astrology, but there's also current astrology with Saturn return. And I'd say the majority of people, because everyone gets the reading from me and is happy. They're happy. And they want more. So unless it's like a financial constraint, most people end up doing that, which is unlike this one, which is recorded. That one's a live reading. First hour, it's the follow up, regardless. If you already bought the follow up, which I didn't check. And then the other one is current, and it can be like 2 hours. It's usually 2 hours. So the combination of the two is which we call three. But with the Saturn return, more 3 hours, 20 minutes, 2 hours, 30. So usually it's probably 350 or something like that. I'm happy to do it for 260. You just gotta let me know. Just gotta let me know. And we'd schedule a live time to do that. Anyways, we will decide later. So you are, oh, look at this. We have Sun Moon conjunction. Oh shit, your north node is exactly my moon. So we have karma. Hold on. I want to see what you look like. I know what you look like. I usually don't do this, but if I see that, I'll be curious. See if I recognize you. Fuck are you at? Are you ducking me? Search your name in my followers. There you are. Your sunglasses on. Follow back. Well, usually when there's synastry like that, it means one of two things. Either A, it's really important for you to listen to me, like in general. The Sagittarius wisdom I have is very, very in parallel to your highest purpose and to your mission. So I'm really happy you found me, not from a narcissistic point of view, but from the point of view of like, fuck, like I would, if I found someone that had, you know, their moon or their sun at 14 degrees Aquarius, which actually like one of my best friends has it. Yeah, she has her sun or her moon. Well, they're both in Aquarius either way, but one of them is exactly on my North Node. Um, but yeah, like I'd be stoked, and it's just cool, Or if I met like if I got like a reading from someone I saw and I saw their chart, I was like, oh shit, you're meant to tell me something. Like there's like I'm meant to like you like because basically the North Node is kind of like where you're trying to go, like your highest like if you think of past lives as we evolve from life to life, the North Node is like, the highest potential for us in this life. It's like where we're really trying to grow. You know what I mean? It's like metaphorically, it's the mountain never climbed in previous lifetimes. And your south node is ooh, look at you. Damn, girl, you got fucking Aldebaran on your moon. Wealth Star, one of the luckiest placements. How close? Could be probably like 0.20. No way. Wait, which one is this? I hate there's so many. Okay, one, two, three, four. So it's this one. Oh my God, it's 0.05 away. Yeah, so it's 0.42. Yeah. Wow. It's a royal star. It's like, one of the luckiest stars in all astrology to have that on, so close to your moon. It has to be like really within 0.10, 0.15, you have it 0.05. That's really, really, really amazing. Um, okay, so you're an Aldebaran moon. So Aldebaran is all about luck, fortune, um, good karma. It gives lots of intelligence. Gemini moon already has that, but gives more eloquence, popularity, and wealth. Lots of power and wealth. Although with all the stars, it can make it. There's a downside too. Um, you have to watch out for. I always tell people like, you gotta watch out. Gotta watch out. No, you do gotta watch out for, um, like revenge. Not seeking revenge. Yeah. It's really, really good for business. Um, and all favorable, very favorable for like all domestic, public, and spiritual matters. And let's see, and target, yeah, yeah. So it's really, really good. Um, I'm looking for something. Yeah, so what else can I say? There can be like a huge libido with this one too. Um, so you gotta watch that, like lust kind of energy. Um, there's times people with Algebra on their moon lost their mother at a young age, and then they're kind of like having those issues. Um, and a lot of times they can like just switch spouses a lot because of that. But I don't see any like unfavorable aspects to your moon actually, besides the opposition with the sun. And yeah, it just makes one need like a lot of physical love and affection. Um, but remember, it's one of the four royal stars. Yeah, watch out for just like crazy accidents too. I'm not saying they're gonna happen, but you just gotta be careful just in general. But yeah, so Moon and Gemini, but yeah, overall like lots of luck. Um, you know, you've seen my articles about the royal stars, and you're talking to a royal star man yourself. I'm a Regulus rising with Fomalhaut on the descendant. I got two of the four, um, which makes me the best. I'm just joking. Um, and then your son, so you're born right before a full moon, so that's difficult. Um, and actually, it was an eclipse. I think we already talked about this, but yeah, so you're born in eclipse, so right before a eclipse. Um, so I mean, sometimes astrology, I mean, you just gotta think about it. It's like, okay, what's the energy of an eclipse, and how could that manifest in the natal chart? Well, obviously, eclipses are like, full moons on steroids, or I always forget if it's the solar lunar eclipse, whatever. Um, but yeah, it's tough. Sun opposite moon, like probably divorced parents, most likely, not always, but usually there is a level of difficulty, like between, I guess you could say, the two parents' worldviews. There's like kind of this clash if they're still together, or even if they're not, just two very different people, and they embedded like two very different messages within you. And it's hard because the sun opposite moon person can sometimes really favor one of those two sides, the side or the Gemini side. And because you're born on an eclipse, um, and because your sun is right, or you're born right before an eclipse, so the sun is right by the north node. It's a little bit different. And just think about it, full moons are about culmination, right? Um, so it's really like speaking to this lifetime of finishing something very important, um, karmically. Now, when I look at it, I'm like, all right, well, she's got her son. So traveling is huge for you. And when I say traveling, I don't mean like going to Dubai and going to. I mean, you can go wherever you want, but I mean traveling not just like to different cultures, but maybe even living in different places, having a life of adventure and learning. You learn a lot when you kind of throw yourself into new cultures, new situations, and it opens up your worldview, and that's what's important here is that very thing. So, but yeah, with the opposition, what's difficult is that, and you also have Vesta on your sun. Okay, so well, actually, I was talking about the North Node sun for the opposition. Yeah, it's just really, really complicated in the sense that because the one parent would have embedded a different message. Like let's say you have to write a paragraph. It's like write me a paragraph or a page on the main message you got from your father and from your mother. They'd be very, very different, right? So because of that, unconsciously, it kind of, and just from a psychological perspective, it just makes it difficult to really feel, to really like, if it makes you feel like you have like two personalities, right? Now this is the thing though. Mutables, which is like Gemini, uh, Sag, or Pisces, it's a lot easier, right? I'm like you. I have a Sag moon right on your North Node, as I said, and a Pisces sun. So it's a square, but it's a lot easier than if it's like a fixed one, like Leo and Aquarius or something. Or I mean Leo and Scorpio, or Aquarius and Taurus, or yeah, or even or Leo and Aquarius would be opposition. So, but yeah, they want different things, but really like your past life tendency is kind of to go for more of a, I mean, South Node Gemini, it's it hasn't gotten deep enough around finding meaning, right? There's a great need to dive deep within the esoteric, within whatever it is that can help you find meaning. Travel, philosophy, anything, right? Anything of that in that category of life experience. And yeah, you just really need to experience a lot, essentially. But yeah, with the Sag Gemini, it's the lower mind and the higher mind. So it's about integrating the two and about like a karmic imbalance where you're really meant to go out in the world and to connect with lots of different types of people, and be very flexible in terms of like your belief system, and open-minded, and yeah, like not it's really important to not enter a situation or even a day excuse me, with the thought of like, oh yeah, I for sure know, like I know it, like it's the whole child's eye is very important. um the I know nothing kind of mantra. And yeah, just like being like kind of like a Gemini is like someone who is curious about the world. There's an emotional need for you to be, to have that curiosity and to want to go out and try lots of different things. But there's also a tendency, both of these signs really, more Gemini, to be scattered, and to start so much that you end up like not um really finishing anything. So it's important to, through your travels, whether it's through books, like I said, just through your experiencing of lots of different areas of life, figuring out what you care about most and channeling your energy into those things, and not have, like, yes, of course, you're so curious that you're gonna be interested in lots of things. That's good. But just imagine like the person who starts something, gets bored of it, because Gemini moons get bored of things very easily, and people. Um, so it's almost like pushing yourself, which is the North Node conjunct the Sun, to and invest there, which adds like kind of some hard work, diligent work towards it. Um, to really have like a life where you're kind of pointed in a really unified direction, and have like a very set life goal, and it might not come until later that you figure out exactly what that is, and you're in your Saturn turn, so don't stress about it. Because 11th house is usually, it shows up later in life. A lot of times it does. Um, mm, yeah. So, but yeah, my advice would be just to not like your life needs to have like a level of lightness to it, like freedom is huge for you as a Gemini moon, and Sag sun. So in relationships, like anything that's like too traditional or constraining, like traditional in the sense of like something like you know where you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. You're not really doing it for any reason besides that's just how it's been done. Um, yeah, yeah. A quick second, yeah. But yeah, the past like tendency is to be a little bit yeah, like a little bit scattered, as I said. Um, and because of that, there's been a lack of kind of finding that, or those like really like that truth, that universal truth. So you know, expanding your worldview, and obviously relationships, who you spend your friends, or whatever relationships you're in, have a huge impact on that. As you know, who you spend time with is very important. It can influence you a lot, but you'll like to be friends with lots of different types of people. You might switch your friends often, and you have a big need for creativity in your life, for self-expression, at least we can say, right? So Mars retrograde, Cancer. Hmm. So yeah, I mean, I just think that learning, you know, learning to really act and go, and have that kind of action orientedness is very, very important for you. Um, yeah, like that fire. Um, but balancing the two out is difficult, right? Because one, I mean, like one is more surface level, in the sense that like it can be more surface level, like the Gemini moon can not really want to go out and explore the world as much. and it might feel more comfortable sticking to its immediate surroundings. So, and then when it comes to just conversations and people in general, it's really important to have a good balance of like, because like it's not like you're complete like an anti small talk type person. Like you can definitely do it. And Gemini moons, they actually sometimes feel a level of soothe like they can feel really soothed from small talk type conversation, um and just random little talk. But Sagittarius, you know, it's like you're meant to turn all these little things into overarching philosophies that help you see the world and see truth in a higher scope, from a higher scope. So yeah, enhancing your perspective is of major utmost importance, which isn't easy at all. Not easy at all. Where should I go from here? Give me a second to sit with this chart for a sec. My crystal. So then there's this element of groups and the whole finding your tribe thing that's really coming up a lot for you. And I believe that it's very karmic, who you're supposed to be with, not relationship wise, like friend wise. I believe that you have a spiritual family that's waiting for you in this lifetime. And the thing is that if you're stuck in the South Node, you can be a little bit stuck in like the material reality. Um, it's really important for you not to make friends based off of looks and popularity and all that kind of BS. I mean, not that it doesn't matter, you know, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have, good looking friends who take care of themselves and stuff like that. But, what's in, and I mean, like for me, good looking me is more about the energy of someone. As like you can be the most beautiful girl in the world. Um, if your energy's off, like I won't be friends with you. Um, not you, just people in general. But yeah, like it's really important to have like a very unique type of friend, or a very unique type like to have very to have friends that help you move towards that. And in relationships, like you have this massive need for having an intellectual connection with your partner, and someone who's very adventurous like yourself. But lots of your shadow work is around anything that happened with between your parents, um because it's a Gemini moon, that's an air moon. There can be lots of like deflection of emotions, like refusing to feel the emotions. And it's important to lean into them, to make an effort to lean into them. Now you have some water in your chart. Your Mars is Cancer retrograde also. And then you have some air in your chart with your Aquarius rising, but you have Saturn right on the rising. So this is like why I'm like you should definitely get a Saturn return current astrology reading, because you have a super prominent Saturn on your Aquarius rising. It's almost, one could say, like Like Aquarius rising wants to be different, wants to be out there, wants to like let stuff go and be the opposite of like the person who um very non-traditional, eccentric, all that Aquarius stuff, rebellious. But then you add Saturn, and that can actually really restrict the self-expression. So there's definitely most likely this push and pull between those two, Uranus and Saturn. Um, Saturn will make you come off, very responsible. But then, there can definitely be some frustration where on one hand, you want to just do whatever. And then on the other hand, you feel like when you take one step forward, you get pushed get pushed a step back. But the good news is that you're in your Saturn return now, and this is when a lot of those, these karmic changes are happening. So people often in that situation have gone through a time where they or 30 years, first 29 and a half or so years of their life where they just felt maybe like more shy. Even though Gemini moon, come on, Sag sun, probably not, but like maybe a little bit shy from shy in the sense of like shy in terms of expressing their full truth, right? Maybe those more weird parts of them, or quote unquote weird, right? The parts that might not be as accepted. So the Saturn return will really, really be a time of liberation, where you can still keep the really good parts of having Saturn on your ascendant, which is about being very, very responsible, committed, serious, very good for success in business. Someone who's kind of like, like almost like the judge, like someone who has high morals, but then also someone who isn't held back by the more restrictive parts of it, right? Like you learn lessons, if you learn them, that is. You learn lessons, and then Saturn's like, okay, you've passed, and now you have this. You have to keep this energy of determination and hard work, but without any of the BS. So it's pretty great. Um, mm, so yeah, um, definitely moving towards Sag is about opening up like the three big questions, where did we come from, why are we here, where are we going, and just really learning about yourself and opening up the higher mind, integrating the lower and the higher mind. But yeah, the Gemini moon side is gonna want variety, so can be so curious. It can be very ungrounded and just want this and that and this and that, which can be very difficult for relationships. Sag is a little bit less like that, although it is still kind of like that. But it's more about higher philosophy. It's Jupiter, so it's less of a nervous energy than Gemini, more about learning. And I guess like understanding your place in the cosmos, who you are and who you are not. And like I said, finding like really like it's also quite humanitarian. You might have like a great responsibility towards humanity in this lifetime. Um, and is there any squares? No. Yeah. It's definitely sun opposite moon is one of the most important aspects in all astrology. Regardless of the signs. I mean, it does make a difference in signs, obviously, but very, very strong. So it does give someone like a lot of success, like once they're able to kind of feed both mouths. Um, so yeah, it makes someone very, very competitive, confrontational also. In life, like you just see tons of polarities, right? And there's always extremes. Um, and very trial and error type energy when it comes to kind of like gaining higher awareness. You just have to just try. It's like the school of life, just trying things. There can be like a level of kind of like what's the word? Adversarial energy. So it's like really like you learn about yourself by the reactions that get provoked by you and other people in other situations. Um, what else? Yeah, so it's really about learning compromise and understanding what part is what's the Gemini part, what's the Sag part? What do they both want? What do they both need? Or, what is the Sag moon, Sag sun trying to push you towards, and what's the fifth house, moon and Gem, also like your emotional need about, right? And there's probably been more, there has been more of a like not taking enough risks when it comes to learning. I always think Gemini South Node is like the person who kind of just like there can be like some gossiping in past lives, right? And they're it's like they're short-sighted, and they don't allow themselves to go deeper. And then Sag is just the opposite. But yeah, there's definitely always like this internal struggle. Um, but because it's sun and moon, just think about all that energy, like opposing each other, just like the two most important planets, just like this it just gives so much energy. And with Saturn on the conjunction, I really have no doubts you're successful. But it can make the emotions very um kind of hard to get, which can make one, you know, temperamental. And yeah, kind of torn between like the more supportive and predictable life and the more chaotic one. Like the life where you feel more comfortable, relaxed, but there's a sense of boredom to that. And the other one where it makes you feel alive, but also it makes you feel challenged, right? So yeah, it's all about stability, right? Um, yeah, all about stability. And those people who have this, they like will look for things outside themselves, fulfillment. Um, I've seen that a lot. But really, it's like the inner stuff. It's all about the inner work. And sometimes they can like rely too much on relationships to be that security hold and feel like a void in their life. Is your Venus? Yeah. When they are not in a relationship. So yeah, definitely learning from others from all walks of life, super important. Um, then I see Chiron, Mars retrograde in Cancer. That's definitely probably some issues early on with the family, and in past lives not having acted enough, and because of that, it pushes one to be more internal and kind of like rethink. Um, it can be a little bit frustrating, but it's like if you didn't act enough in past lives, like that's how I see the Mars retrograde, right? Um, or you're almost like kind of it's more of like an internalized action as opposed to like yeah, which can lead to passive aggressiveness for sure with like Mars in Cancer. Um, so it's really important to find ways to express anger, outlets, or just communication skills. It's not always easy, of course. And mm, Chiron, and we add like this element here, you like it brings lots of pain in relationships. It can also make you a really, really good healer. But there is the element of like, pain coming up in relationships, mixed with um Chiron and Leo being an indicator of someone who wasn't allowed, if you will, to really grow up, to really be a kid in the normal sense. Like they felt early on their self-expression was thwarted. So inner child work is needed for sure. Can make someone kind of like overcompensate by trying to shine too much, and it can really speak to some insecurities, and it's in the seventh house. So yeah, it would be linked to like the early experiences, but or come out more in relationships. Um, just boredom, like it's very like because Gemini is ruled by the hand, Gemini moons, which are very, very intelligent people, right? Gemini moons, it's a very good indicator of intelligence. It's the fifth house, so it's like doing something like the guitar or like some instrument would be very where you use your hands would be very, even video games or like I don't even know, something that is creative that where you use your hands is really, really healing. But there definitely is a tendency to overanalyze um, emotions and to not trust them, to trust logic, right? To trust the mind over the emotions. So that's why I always tell Gemini Moons like figure out like a movie that makes you cry and like or like a way that you can just get in touch with deep emotions. But yeah, it's on Aldebaran, so that's like super good, super dynamic, super multifaceted. Also, it's someone who can like turn their hobby into their moneymaker, into their career. And someone who really wants to, learn a lot from their career, in relation to kind of the North Node energy, because your midheaven is with the sun and with the North Node, the same house or same house and sign. So yeah, I guess like a career that helps you move more towards understanding the world better. So something where you could move around, be really, really good. Because you really feel nurtured and you nurture other people when you're able to kind of be that Aquarius, that high vibe Aquarius version of yourself, that kind of more eccentric, um, like I am how I am, unforgivably yourself type energy. That's, very important. You also have Venus in Aquarius. Um, and you have many tough aspects besides the Sun opposite Moon, and then Venus opposite Mars. Interesting. And then, hmm, okay. So yeah, you're always searching for like new ways to kind of like express yourself and to get more in touch with your authentic self-expression, which I always think of like as like the difference between you know, it's like creating for the sake of just purely creating, as opposed to doing it for an audience or for external validation. Like you want to just create to create. You gotta watch out for self victimizing and escapism. That could be a tendency potentially that holds you back, like just like not facing reality, I guess you could say. Yeah, man, and Eminem really quick. Eminem, right? Hmm. Okay. So, okay. Yeah, being real with yourself, very, very important. Um, and yeah, really, I guess serious and quiet. So, as I was saying, yeah, so that will also get liberated. And yeah, like you really have like a, like when you are in that mode where like you're being yourself, you're being authentic, the authentic you, that's where you have like a very healing effect on others. And then you do also like to share that energy. Now, so one left. Okay, hold on. So, what can happen with the opposition is that um, there can be this energy where when things get overwhelming, you might just disappear, just not want to face up with reality. Um, the highest way to handle that is to move into like high spirituality. Um, to meditate, you know, to get creative with yourself. Like you're really, really trying to find new avenues in that realm, right? Um, and as I was saying earlier, like understanding what the high energy of Gemini and the low energy is, and the high energy of Sag and the low energy of Sag is, and like knowing that you can there can be a tendency for full moon people to just like be really, really in only one of their signs and kind of like letting go of the other one. So I think like the big difference between Gemini and well, I mean, obviously one's fire, one's air, right? So one is about going out and doing, the other one is about more ideas and communicating and maybe talking about doing. Um, but high Gemini is just like that ultimate curiosity and just yeah, the journalist. It's like you want to be at the same time the metaphoric journalist, um, but like the journalist also or a researcher. It's like a researcher. Gemini is the researcher. Sagittarius is the one who does the conclusion, who takes all the data. So that's kind of how it is for you in life. But you can't just be the researcher that just has all this data, 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 but then no conclusion. So what does that require? A level of, self evaluation, self reflection, which what does that require? Alone time. And because the sun's in the 11th house, yeah, it's really important for you to meet your soul tribe, and friends are a really important part of your life, and groups of organizations and humanitarianism and your goals. But to what extent, like it's like they can also like really get in the way, right? So yeah, very important to know that. Very important to know that, and to allow yourself to because like with your Mercury in Scorpio conjunct Pluto, that is the ultimate like researcher, super good for intelligence. Like it's someone who just wants to like dive deep into the mysteries of life, right? And hold on just a second. Just a second. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a really, really strong energy. And it definitely pushes away some of that potential need to be like it definitely makes one actually like way, way more deep. I was saying before, kind of how because like Gemini moons, like I said, they can be down for the small talk, but when you have that in your chart, it's like this real intensity. Like when you find something you're interested in, just going all the way. Nothing can stop you in terms of like researching and finding what you want to find out. Like if you like really want to learn about astrology, you could just go full on. So yeah, it's a really good one for anything that requires like you know being resourceful and figuring shit out. Also like really wanting to kind of like discover and Mercury in Pluto in 10th house, like your career is a huge area where you can transform. Although there could be some some fears and trauma around you putting yourself out there publicly completely. But it's common in charts of people who make a living with something related to to their like to talking. Like sales would be like a good example, but not really sales. It's Scorpio, so it's a lot deeper. Um, right, a lot deeper, a lot deeper. Of course, the midheavens in Sag. But overall, you have a lot of these psychic placements with Neptune and Uranus in the 12th house. Huge. Um, go to face cam a little bit. Um, so Uranus there, it can give like these intuitive out of nowhere flashes. Um, but like in order to get those, you need to be balanced. You need to be in doing things like meditating, right? which like myself, you have no earth in your chart, so that makes it hard for you to like show up day after day and be like the same person, and have stability. And Mars and your sticks can cause kind of a difficulty when it comes to health. Also, health, you have to be careful with health for sure. And there might be like a link between physical health, definitely a link between physical health and emotional health. And there's also like, the mother slash family coming up with respect to that. But you know, just watching out for substances. It's not like I mean, it's kind of just out of order of the opposition, but like, it's still something. Um, and then Pisces, Black Moon Lilith can be escapist in that way for sure. But it's just possibilities, right? Um, ooh, and then you have that ninth house Jupiter. That's so good for in Libra. That's really, really good for relationships actually, and for traveling, and gives lots of luck when you travel. Um, and about learning. Even like something like astrology could be really, really attracted to you. With that Pluto, conjunct Mercury, your mind is like really, really deep and probing, right? Hmm. But there's this real seeking out of stability, and that's what Saturn's trying to teach you, and it's trying to give you, right, on your ascendant, and maybe you found it now, right? Is that stability, that ground that you can base, kind of like work your life around. Um, if you don't have it, you can just go in these cycles, and Gemini moons can be just so ungrounded and in the sky, and Sag can also just be like so out there as well that it can be a hard one to handle. Definitely a lot of fun, but hard to handle. Um, yeah. So definitely someone who wants to probe the human psyche and go deep into and and then with the Neptune who has like access to kind of the collective unconscious, if you want to call it that, right? Um, but almost to the point where you can feel overwhelmed by like the undercurrents of the world, right? And that can there can be like this tendency to daydream or the whole escapism thing, which can also be a really good thing if there's a healthy escape. And yeah, really like strong compassion, which the Cancer Mars also does. It makes you really want to like fight for those who are less fortunate, um, causes you care about with the 11th house Sun also. And yeah, it makes one very protective of their family. But yeah, it can be hard. Even with the thing is, it's like there's like the passive aggressive thing, but then there's like that Scorpio, Mercury, which is how you talk, how you think, with Pluto. And I'm like, damn, like you know, how to hurt people if you want to. It's like don't go there. You don't like it, but you definitely know. Um, mm, so Pallas is right on Neptune, so that's just like more, just like third eye. Um, it can be a little bit hidden though, so it's like you kind of have to like really explore your inner workings to find these energies. Like it's only through like being able to sit still and like block out all the clutter, right? In meditation or whatever it is, that you can start to feel these downloads come in, and they won't feel like so obvious, but then you'll just start. The more you meditate, the more you'll just start to know things, right? Um, Palace in the 12th is just being able to really like communicate and understand spiritual teachings very, very easily, innately almost. And yeah. And like in Capricorn, it's interesting because it gives you this ability to like almost like structure your thoughts, which are very like these very spiritual like put like how do I say this? Like it gives lots of wisdom and ability to structure the thoughts. Um, even though it's connected to Neptune, which is like about like the boundlessness and the spiritual realm and all that. So, you know, having those two is massive. 1 second, where my thing go? Why did it just say return to meeting? Was I out of this meeting? If I was, I'm gonna be so pissed. I never quit that. Like hit quit. Or maybe if I let me just see something. Where's Zoom? And never hit out and give me an option. Okay, I see. Return. Okay, so it still says return to meeting. Even I got it. Okay, I understand. Got it. Yeah. So then there's Venus and Mars opposite. They're not opposite signs though, but still. Um, and you know that can just give a it's interesting. I see this quite a bit, which is so random. It's like people who have like there's two yin and yangs in astrology, right? There's the sun, the moon, feminine and masculine, and then Venus and Mars, feminine and masculine. So to have, and I swear I've seen this a lot lately, where people they don't have that many aspects in their chart, but then they have both of these. So there's really this like this theme of like balancing out the masculine and the feminine parts of you. And it creates really intense relationships, this one. Like when you love someone, you love them like very deep. There can be like lots of drama. And it can be overwhelming for other people. Um, so it's important to have like someone who also like matches that intense passion. Um, but not someone who's like so submissive, but yeah. Um, and it can be, yeah, it can create lots of like storminess in relationships. Um, yeah, it can make them really direct in terms of how they show affection, which can be attractive, um, but also can lead to lots of fights, right? Um, very sexual also. Well, it's very good for creativity for sure. Um, sports. Oh yeah, this is one that I see in lots of athletes' charts. Is this type of aspect? Um, yeah. hmm So you have a really nice aspect of Saturn trine Moon. Especially as a Gemini Moon, that's a really, really good one. Because that gives like a lot of inner self-confidence, which can help you build very firm foundations in your life and very like really like actually achieve your balance. So lots of Gemini moons all over the place. Saturn will actually really help that. Like I always tell people how as a Pisces, like the Saturn sextile, which is like very similar, my sun helps me like be like grounded and organized, you know? So yeah, it can really make you have like a firm footing, and it's a really nice one. And then also Jupiter trines your moon, which that is really good. Um, and it's a grand trine actually, Moon, Jupiter, and Saturn. So Moon, Jupiter, it's like just all about like good natured, like optimistic. It's like this inner well of optimism and being able to see the big picture. Really, really good for success and enjoying other people's company, people enjoying your company, and people liking to help you meet your goals. Now this beautiful, beautiful Libra Jupiter in the ninth house. Oh, it just feels good. Um, so Jupiter and Libra makes one very diplomatic, and it actually really helps your chart because your chart needs a lot of balance, right? So you're able to kind of get that um within your Jupiter will help you that with that, but it's in the ninth house, so it's through the more you travel, the more you try new things, the more you search for the meaning of life, which is like the biggest thing in your chart. Um, whether it's through philosophy, religion, study, travel, whatever. Um, basically expansive knowledge. Knowledge that expands your worldview is is giving you so much wisdom, and there's just so much luck in that realm for you. Yeah, it's a really straightforward chart. I'm like, fuck, where's the thing? And Chiron square Mercury, in Leo, so that goes back to like that early potential wounding around because being having Aquarius energy, maybe like the Saturn on the ascendant made like the father figure like not allow you to express yourself in your Aquarian way. I didn't talk about Venus yet. Um, and then maybe that made you kind of just shut down from being able to feel like you can like really express yourself. So yeah, that one can definitely be tough. Um, what was it? Um, yeah, 0 degrees. Hmm. Of course, Saturn rising means that Saturn is opposite the descendant, which can make it so you don't really. So one might not meet their like. There's a whole lot that needs to be learned about self-love, and one might not meet the really important relationships until after the Saturn return, which is like now. And it speaks to that. So you have Venus Aquarius like myself. Um, Venus Aquarius, the first house, and it goes with your Gemini moon, just like a massive need for freedom in relationships and in all areas of life, really. Like, if you're not getting that, um, it's just no good. Like, things like it's just not gonna work. Like, you know, um, and if you're like, let's say you were dating someone who was like, you know, like a really low vibe, all Capricorn, all Scorpio, and low vibe of those energies, right? One sec. Oh, it's raining. So that would be really, really difficult for you. Really, really difficult. And would cause you to feel like the relationship is like a sort of prison of sorts, right? So yeah, very important to understand that about yourself. That and you might really be attracted to someone from a different culture than the one that you're and you're you know, born in Turkey. I have no idea about, where you lived, and my guess, if I had to guess, would be that you probably moved away. That'd just be my guess. And I, if you have told me, I've forgotten it purposely. Because if you didn't know, I don't want to know anything about any of my clients. I did look up your photo, but you have sunglasses on, which I rarely do, but that was more because I just wanted to see if I just like had this karmic recognition of you because of what I saw in our two charts, and you like this your dash turkey, like yeah. Um, but yeah, um, so just learning like inner child work is really important for you. So this goes further to like the relationship thing, which is really big for you, I think. Because like it's really important for you to not have like someone who's like overly serious, right? That's what I was alluding to. Because if that happens, then um, it just it's just no good. I don't know how else to say it. Like it's just no good. If someone's overly serious, then um, it can kind of cut you off from expressing your highest self, which is this like really free, loving pers person. And Venus in Aquarius, and this is very important. Um, the ultimate people who need space in relationships, right? And I have one, like I said, so I would know. Um, but then there's, like I said, there's that opposition with Mars. So the Mars in Cancer would, and I just put a chewing tobacco in the really the sexy kind from Sweden. I mean, I guess you're not from America, so you wouldn't know how gross the American like kind is. But I was gonna look for something. Yeah, and it's at 0 degrees. So a 0 degree Venus is all about new beginnings karmically, in relation to love. Um, but there can also be some kind of like naivete. And oh, I forgot to look at the parallels. Let's see if I see anything. Out of balance planets. Ooh, Mars. Mars retrograde out of bounds. So don't ask me to explain the astronomy of that. Close this door. But basically, um, Mars retrograde. What else can I say about that? Yeah, just like it can make one like really, really past oriented, um, and inflict like past life rules upon people in their current life. Um, and it's also quite spiritual, like a huge priority around like fulfilling spiritual desires. But sometimes people can neglect the needs of the physical body and be so in the spiritual, right? Um, well, and yeah, it's like sex needs to be like very rooted in love. Um, it can feel like really like nothing if it's not. Um, and yeah, like I said before, a tendency to like kind of have either underdid or overdid something in relation to the Mars archetype in past lives. So in this case, with the South Node Gemini, probably like yeah, there's too much useless kind of low energy kind of action. Um, um, yeah, just scattered energy, right? Like having your life filled with too many people, too many activities that keep you away from that self reflection that's so important, right? which having the Venus and Pluto together, that's really intense in Scorpio, because it'll push you down. It'll make you have like a very intense thought process, where you might think way deeper than other people, especially when younger, and like be interested in topics that, you know, like maybe people around you aren't interested in, you like the esoteric, for example, the depths of human psychology, why people are the way they are. You make a great psychologist, great healer. And then also it's about like decision making, right? So there's a tendency to like kind of like be a little wishy-washy with your decisions and your commitments. So in this life, it's like about yeah, having that higher vision and like sticking to it, And let's see. I don't want this actually. Change my mind. That's a Gemini thing. I know Gemini. Um, but yeah. The 0 degrees, interesting, right? So that's a critical degree. Um, and yeah, like it's like a new beginning with the Venus energy, right? Um, so yeah, it's like a clean slate. So it's like starting all over again in relationships on a higher level than the last life, right? Um, yeah. And maybe like in past lives, there could have been like something like arranged marriages, or just like where you weren't able to express yourself in that way. In this life, you're having a taste of like how, love can be in different ways. So it's very new to you, um, which can lead to, and also with money and stuff like that. It could be like let's say you're really very poor in past lives, or there's a tendency like to have money issues, and in this life there's not that, or vice versa, right? Um, yeah, it's either it's tough to tell if it's one way or the other. Um, you'll know, your soul will know. So yeah, it's almost like the Fool tarot card, starting a new adventure, karmic adventure in that area of life. So yeah, just really like you'll value and be attracted to people who are just different, who like maybe they're a different age, different culture, and it's really all about the mind and the connection and how much they help you, how much freedom they give you. Like you need a lot of space in relationships. You met like long distance relationships, or at least relationships that give you an ability to miss the other person, and it's complicated. But then Venus in the first house is definitely really really good. It's an indicator of beauty, of course. Um, Someone who can express, who has like this attractiveness, like their aura, physical and energetic, um, and gives like a very like kind of calm demeanor and measured with the Saturn being on the ascendant. Um, but yeah, now I imagine you're really kind of letting out that real authentic side of yourself, or maybe not now, but it's really things are really opening up a lot for you to fully feel like you can like really really express true being. Um, Part of fortune, the seventh mean in Leo, it's like basically saying like you're at your best when you're in relationships that allow you to have that freedom, that allow you to heal the child wounds, where you can just kind of be yourself, be goofy, have fun. Also children can be something that you really benefit from being around children. Um, and also just like when you're when yeah when you are guided towards that purpose, and you're on your way, you find like when you found um that life purpose, that thing that is that's what it is, and your soul knows that. But that's the thing, the past life tendency is to kind of be like here, then there, then here, then there, then here, then there, and then it's like in the end you don't do what you don't go in any one direction. You don't. It's too all over the place. Um, but yeah, and then the fifth house moon, I didn't really talk about that much. It's very important. It just makes someone really just want to have fun, really express themselves. It goes back to that Leo energy. Um, Someone who likes to play rather than work sometimes can be something. So it's like it can be hard to like hold down like a regular job. But so that's like goes back to the idea of having your play be your work, you know. But yeah, really fun loving. It could be good for entertainment. Um, and just like yeah, people like really responding to your sense of like fun and just kind of being down to just do things. I don't know. Your openness, the open-mindedness you have, right? Like this real like big personality, that's just full of ideas and all that. But then, in relationships, there's that such huge need for mental stimulation, and you really want to like be able to like teach or be taught in that sense too. It can make someone like really talk a lot. So that's the thing is it's like okay, so your moon's ruled by Mercury, which is in Scorpio, so it's like want to talk a lot, but about deeper things, and go deep underneath in the underground. Um, yeah, you can definitely work very well in groups, for sure. Um, but yeah, it's about like getting past that feeling of inadequacy from early childhood. That's a big thing, right? Um, and yeah, like interjects like the stories you tell yourself about that limit you, like I am this or I am not this or things like that. So they just get rid of those blank slate. Um, mm, yeah, like I said, like Vesta in the 11th, like it's really someone who wants to work towards their ideals and the things they really believe in. Their visions, like they might have like a very unique vision. It's about like really like sticking to that. Um, it might be one that takes a whole lifetime to really accomplish, but it's worth it. And remember, you can always change. Midheaven immutable means that in Sag or Gemini, it's someone who can have two careers. They can have the money maker and the passion, and then slowly but surely the passion becomes the money maker, right? Um, what else with that? Yeah, your role in the collective is it's very important to your karma. It's conjunct your sun, so um, you know, you're someone who definitely likes to take care of other people, and who likes to really work hard. Even though the fifth house moon is different, like when you figure out, like it's like you can be like complete opposite. Like you can be someone who just like doesn't like very like kind of rebellious and just like if it's not something you care about. But if it's something you care about, you can just go full in. And I believe that you'd probably be the kind of person that's like more inclined to self-study and things of that nature. And even though the Jupiter in the ninth house is really good for higher studies, like university and stuff, um, I still think that there needs to be a level of depth in what you're doing, or you just will feel like kind of disconnected. And of course, Aldebaran on the moon, like when you're heading in that direction, it's just the best degree you could possibly have of Gemini. So it's going to really remove a lot of like the lower Gemini energies and make you very lucky. But of course, like I was starting to say this, and I think I stopped. I kind of explained it, but like with the royal stars, like like I said, I have it. And I have this tattoo. It says Regulus. You should get one that says Aldebaran. Joking, but should. Um, but basically, like I have this as a reminder because I know that like I am Regulus. It's the king. Regulus is it's on my rising. It's like it gives like basically like it's something we have in common where people can become very jealous and hate and try to pull it over on us. I had an incident lately with a client who scammed me basically, and I could have done lots of things, but I did my best to have justice, and justice wasn't served, and you know I just was like, all right, I'm just gonna let go. I'm not gonna call her out publicly. I'm not gonna, you know, I don't know, send her threats or anything like that. Like I'm just gonna let God take care of it. You have to remember that to be that the to be the higher to be the higher person, not higher on drugs. To be the bigger person, um, the bigger man or woman. All right, let's see here. So then Black and Lilith is squaring your moon. That's interesting. That could be some difficult karma with the mother. Um, um, yeah, there can be some, like the mother could have been someone who was kind of all over the place a little bit. Um, and there's a need to kind of like remove yourself from those emotions. But yeah, this is difficult aspect, Black Lilith aspect. Um, It's also really powerful. It's very witchy energy. So any Lilith connection is very very witchy. Now it can create difficult romance and almost like triangular like lots of weird love affairs, like triangular relationships. Um, where you're just like in the middle or something and you're just like caught up in some weird shit. Um, it can also make one where this like decision where you have to choose between you know like family or lover. Um, like the family traditional route or the spiritual route that is maybe very different than like the religion or something like that. Um, yeah, it can make like really really tough demands on you that can lead to like kind of like have like having to make like a kind of heartbreaking decision, right? And a lot of people who have this, they face like exile from their family in some type of way. It's about like sovereignty, and just knowing that you are you and they can't control you. Um, yeah. So, there can be once again this thing of like the forbidden fruit. Um, when it comes to like addiction, like sex, drugs, all that, or like cheating. Not that you're doing that. I'm just saying like it's a potential, right? Of situations coming up that kind of really test your faith and test your loyalty. And yeah, it is one of these like phoenix rising from the ashes type energies, right? It can be traumatic emotionally, but that's what makes you grow. And mm, yeah, lots of times this is like a breaking away from the family ties ends up happening. So mm, I'm looking for something here. Yeah, so sex and libido can be like, yeah, like I said, like it can make someone like a nymphomaniac, and it can make like the like controlling one's sexual libido like difficult. It's really important to have like these very like firm rules for yourself. Um, what else? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the fact that the moon is with Aldebaran, I think it would push a lot of these difficult parts this way. Because a lot of Aldebaran people are born into like rich families, not all the time, but or they end up getting money in some type of way. It's very, very good for that. Um, and there can be like partners who kind of feed one's addiction, like if there's addiction issues that feed them. But yeah, it's very, I'm just gonna say it's very sexy, like to have black and loaf in this type of aspect with the moon or Venus. Very magical, very intuitive. Um, so let's see what else is there. Yeah, the mom can be very like pushy at sometimes. But it's definitely like very like it gives one power. Like it gives one like it's like that sun that's the pressure of the sun opposite moon and the Venus opposite Mars, they give you this real just like forward, There's no laziness. I don't sense any laziness. Um mm, my eyes are being annoying. It's too much screen. I need to turn my freaking brightness down so I no wonder. Um yeah, and also like one thing is like is there's a tendency like to fall for like the bad boys, right? Um, so that's to be looked at. Um, All right. How long have I been talking? Jesus Christ. Okay, so now let's look at went over this, went over that, went over this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that, this, that. And I moved you so far ahead for your birthday, so you need to love me forever. Just joking. Vertex in the eight, that is like the doorway to higher awareness. Higher awareness can come through like really intense kind of love experiences. And just anything like kind of like death, rebirth, transformation, like the kind of scorpionic um energy, right? Like kind of what I just talked about with Black and Wolf. Those like where you grow in these like very intense, dramatic experiences. Maybe making mistakes early on with respect to sexuality, potentially. But in Virgo, it's like the pathway to higher awareness is through service and through finding your grounding and your routine in life that helps you on the emotional, spiritual, physical, every level. And Virgo is the sign of earth magic, so someone who can maybe work with herbs or something of that matter, right? And you'll be in relationships also someone who really wants to show your love through your actions and through your depth, but really, yeah, through kind of what you're willing to do for the other person. Now, Juno, I didn't talk about, in Cancer is definitely, um, and then Mars also trines the Pluto and the Mercury. So that's really good for intelligence and like grasping ideas really quickly, and yeah, just really good for communication. And with Pluto, it just gives like a lot of of energy, like a super high energy level. Um, Someone who, like I said, like who's not afraid to call out the right and the wrongs and tell things how they are and looks out for who really cares for the world and for the people who might be less fortunate than them, or just, yeah, who looks out for causes, healer, philanthropist, humanitarian. So yeah. So Juno is kind of like your ideal mate. Because Cancer, that's like, someone who gives you like security on the level of like maybe like they're like your rock, right? They're like consistent. You can rely on them all the time. With your Gemini moon, that like even on Aldebaran, that just kind of can go all over the place. Um, and that Sun opposite moon, that person that gives you that real steadiness, right? Where there's like this daily harmony. And also, yeah, also someone where it's like you guys kind of like on like a daily level, like kind of have like a common goal, like you guys are like almost like good co-workers in a sense, right? You might even like meet your lover at work. And Juno and Cancer, it's like um just really, really wanting someone who's very deeply caring, emotional, um, and can provide, security, which Cancer, everyone talks about like, you know, emotional, but it's also, financial, just like, someone who's willing to have that groundedness. Cause like for you, it's like there's so much travel, move, but then you also like maybe are attracted to someone who's the opposite, who can give you that home and family and that groundedness. And of course that space, of course that space. You can't be in a relationship that pushes you away from growth, someone of lower consciousness. Okay, let's see the stars now. We saw Aldebaran. There will not be a stronger one. Let's see if I see my eye. No, let's open up my list. Stop. Stare at this shit so close. Oh, damn. Okay. I swear I'm not saying this shit. So first of all, you have Venus on lust. Um, Look, I don't know how to say this. My girlfriend, she has lust rising. It just makes someone very sexy. That's all like all you can say. Like a rising lust or Venus lust, like people, you know, they just and it can be difficult because um I'm still here. I'm just throwing something away. Um, it can be difficult because people can like not like objectify, but kind like almost like see you for like that's not like I don't want to say a sexual object. That's not the right term, but basically like it just makes someone really really sexy. Um, it makes someone very very sexy. Um, and of course Venus there in the first house also adds beauty, but it can be difficult. It's really good, obviously. I mean, everyone wants to be sexy, but it can be difficult when people are looking at you for that they're not actually interested in something deeper. They just see the lust, and it can also create lots of obsessions. Like I've seen that firsthand, like how obsessed like the lust on the Venus or the lust rising, this, probably those two is the main ones, right? Especially in the first house, which is like so apparent. Um, just in an Aquarius, it's like um, it can add like an element of like because you would be very unconventional in terms of like who you'd go for, right? As I said before. But yeah, it's like it can be annoying for every female client I've ever talked to, and of course I said my girlfriend has it too. Like, it's just like there can just be like guys who are just like obsessed, you know, guys and girls that just like are just like, you know, just very sexually attracted. Um, and then you also have Urania on your Venus. That is how close is it? Yeah, and that's about astrology. So, that I see that in the chart of astrologers, right? People or numerology, but it really is about astrology. Really, 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 really strongly linked to astrology. Okay, we continue. Let's see anything on the moon besides Aldebaran. Hades is kind of close. This one, Atlantis, which you might have like a strong like emotional link to a past life in Atlantis, but and then Hades, which is kind of very Plutonian, so that adds kind of a level of darkness, and kind of like the underworld, um, ventures to the underworld emotionally, even as like a light Gemini moon. Because like I said at the start, air moons, like you put like a Cancer moon and a moon in Gemini in the same situation, everything's the same. Something happens, the Cancer moon will cry and get that energy out. The Gemini moon might just be like, I don't want to feel this. I'll feel this in 7 months, you know? But then it just builds up inside them. So it's like a real need to like kind of like to feel your emotions, to not push them away. Okay. That's really good spiritual protection there from any enemies. You're very protected from that thing. I talked about like the jealousy potential. Oh, what the fuck? So many. Another one, another two that are about like sexiness. Cupido on Pluto, very, mysterious, flirty, and then Sappho's there too. But Sappho's on Mercury also, so it can make you like a poet. And what number is that? Um, okay, I see. Yeah, someone who loves like words and communications, also like dirty talk, but also sweet talk. Yeah, and it kind of adds that level of sexiness that keeps coming up into the fucking way you speak. What's this one? Is it? No. Okay, it's not. Yeah, so Midheaven's chilling, and then yep, 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 yep. Uh-huh. So then, yeah, and then mm, Vega and Uranus together can make someone kind of critical, but also very like strong passions, materialistic. Um, there can be yeah, like secret enemies, but I said there's protection from that. Just watching out for accidents. But then it's also, is it conjunct with Neptune also? No, just Uranus. Hey, Mika. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy to have done this for you before your birthday. And I hope you enjoy. And let me check if you had the follow up. I'll be going to America the 22nd, which I'll still be working, of course. I can't ever stop working, but um I'll just have to switch up my schedule of how I do the follow-ups. Oh, just reading. You got just reading. Okay. Well, if you want to add the follow-up, just DM me. Follow-up and current astrology slash Saturn return. And I'll do it for, a very good price. That's a lot less than you would have paid through the website, which is already super reduced. I like put everything like minus $40, $30, $40. Anyways, wow, it's really dark. That's because my brightness is down. It's still kind of dark. Anyways, thank you so much. And we shall chat soon. All right. Go BESIKTAS.